y'all, today I have a partial look at the Anti-Valentine special limited edition event coming from Glam Polish. These shades will be extremely limited and they will not be restocked. So this is going down Friday, February 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Glam Polish website. I'll go ahead and link that down below. These polishes were sent to me for review and I'll go ahead and get right into it. So the first shade I have to share with you today is Single Ladies, and this polish is described as a light copper hollow with multi-chrome and ultra hollow glitter. So gorgeous in the bottle, just like that on the nail as well. I think if you wanted to, you could use this one as a topper, but it definitely is completely opaque all on its own. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how that's swatched today for me on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. You can already see a ton of those multi-chrome flakies going down on the nail. Even though there are a lot of flakies, not a lot of texture going on in this one. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry down and then show you how it built up for me with a quick second coat. So here is a quick look at that. 2 coats is going to bump up that opacity, add a ton more of those glitters and flakies. For me, it was still just a little bit sheer, so I want to go ahead and let this dry down and come in for a quick third and final coat with these polishes. It's not an issue at all. They have nice drying time and they're really easy to apply. So here for my third and final coat, I did go in a little bit thicker here. That just ensured that I had full opacity with no issues. It also gave me a little wiggle room to maneuver those flakes exactly where I want them. So here is a look at that completed mani at 3 coats, even without a glossy top coat. So you can see they do level down gorgeously there. And those multi-chrome flakies are going to give you different colors at all different angles, super shifty and gorgeous on the nail. Here's a quick view from a different angle underneath my artificial lighting that really shows off, I think, that shift in flakies there. Super beautiful, and I think among my top picks of the few that I had today. So here is a quick final swatch photo at an angle underneath of my artificial lighting. And then next up I have Big Girls That Don't Cry, and this polish is described as a baby pink crelly with aurora shimmer and hollow micro glitter. Very soft, super girly, and very feminine. I'm going to go ahead and show you today how that's swatched for me on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This formula is described as being a crelly. I think that's very spot on. It's a little bit sheer, a little bit milky, and I cannot wait to share the final look with you guys. This is such a clean and a really fun vibe. I think it'd be a really cool twist on a French mani as well. So there's a look at that first coat. I'm going to go ahead, let that dry down, and then show you how it built up for me with a quick second coat. So there's a look at that. 2 coats is going to add a little bit more opacity, more of that clean, milky vibe. It was still just a little bit sheer for me, so I'm going to go ahead, complete this coat, let it dry down, and then show you how it built up for me with a third and a final coat for today. So here is a quick look at that. 3 coats is going to make it even milkier, a little bit more creamy. I did still have a little bit of visible nail line peeking through, but this is kind of the vibe I feel like with this polish. If you wanted to use an uni, you totally could, but I think it just makes it look clean and classy. Really cool. So here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. I think that this would be beautiful for a French mani. I'm such a big fan of those anyway. I think it's going to be a really fun twist on that. So here's a quick view from a different angle underneath my artificial lighting. Even without a top coat here, nice glossy finish. However, if you wanted to go in, I think that would help extend that wear time and just make it that much glossier. So this is my final swatch photo at an angle underneath artificial lighting, and I cannot wait to share this next polish with you. So this one is called Heartbreak Hotel, and it's described as a bright pink jelly with iridescent flakies and ultra hollow glitter. This one is like the complete opposite of the last polish in every really nice imaginable way. This is going to be bright in your face, loud, and it does have some larger glitters in there. This one is described as having a jelly formula, so again, one that you're going to want to build up a little bit. The flakes in here are a little bit larger as well. I did have to be a little bit mindful with application, but that color payoff is super, super worth it. So there's a look at that first coat. Went ahead and let that dry down and then show you how it builds up with a second coat. 2 coats was really close to being full coverage for me. However, those larger flakes were a little bit patchy, so I did want to go in and just even those up and make sure I got the utmost coverage that I absolutely could. Here it looks like it dries down textured, however it does mellow out fairly well and is pretty well glossy. I think this one would be really cool with a matte top coat as well. So 3 coats for sure brings this polish completely opaque. Here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before glossy top coat underneath the artificial lighting. So a little bit of texture going on there, not a ton, just enough to smooth out with one coat of your favorite glossy top coat. Here's a quick view from a different angle underneath my artificial lighting. I am vibing on this for summer. It's so cold outside today, and this is the polish I needed in my life. So this is my final swatch photo at an angle underneath artificial lighting. So next up is We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, and this polish is described as a white crowley with pink and aquamarine matte glitter and ultra hollow glitter. So there's a quick look at what it looks like in the bottle. Those matte pinks are kind of clinging to the side of the bottle. However, it is a nice mix within this polish. So here's a look at that first easy coat. Again, this is a crowley, a little bit sheer here with this first coat, but a nice mix of those matte glitters on the nail. I was really intrigued with how this looks just at one coat. However, I am going to let that dry down and then show you how it built up for me with a second and third coat. I definitely feel like this polish needs all three coats to build up that milky base. So here's a look at that second coat. It does add a little bit more cream there, a little bit more depth, a little bit more glitter, but it's not completely opaque. So again, I'm going to let this dry down and then show you how it built up for me with a third coat. With that very dense mix of glitters, I think it pulls this base a little bit more gray or baby blue toned, and I was really loving it. So 3 coats does bring this polish right to the edge of being completely opaque. Depending on your application and visible nail line, it is completely opaque. So here's a quick look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. Just a very minimal amount of texture going on there. It will definitely smooth out with just 1 coat of your favorite glossy top coat. So here's a quick view from a different angle underneath my artificial lighting. Those matte glitters aren't going to catch the light at all. They just make for a really cool and complex look on the nail. And then this is my final swatch photo at an angle underneath my artificial lighting. So super beautiful polish, very light, a little bit more subdued. So the last polish I have to share with you today is called Love Bites, and it's described as an indigo jelly with iridescent flakes, neon pink glitter, and hollow micro glitter. So it does have those same really cool neon pink matte glitters, which I'm very much feeling on right now. I think of all 5 of these polishes, this is going to be my absolute #1 top favorite. It almost is really close to looking like Mardi Gras in a bottle, and I just love it. So it is a jelly. It is definitely one that you're going to have to build up a little bit to the opacity of your choosing. This first coat does make a nice base. I do recommend going in a little bit thinner with these. You don't want to get too thick because it's going to take them a hot minute to dry. So here's a look at that second coat. 2 coats is going to add more of those gorgeous peacocky toned flakies onto the nail, as well as deepen that purple base. It's not completely opaque for me in 2, so I am going to go ahead, complete this coat, and let it dry down, and then show you what it looks like at 3. So here is a look at that third and final coat. I kind of played around with the camera there at 2 coats. It's just so pretty to look at. So 3 coats did for sure bring this polish completely opaque. I am going to kind of manipulate those flakes to go exactly where I want them to. They tend to cling a little bit to the nail, so I need to make sure to get all the way to the end of the nail to mask my nail lines. But here's a look at that completed mani at 3 coats before a glossy top coat underneath my artificial lighting. Again, these are super shifty on the nail. Very beautiful, and they play well in this jelly base. So here's a quick view from a different angle underneath that artificial lighting. This is one of those polishes that I can just stare at all day and play depending on the angle. Super in love with it. This is my final swatch photo at an angle underneath my artificial lighting, and that does wrap up my swatch and review of the polishes I have to share with you today from the Anti-Valentine Special Limited Edition event. There are even more polishes. As I see reviews pop up, I'll try to list them down below so you can see everything that's going to be available. The first 65 orders over $60 US at the launch will receive a free limited edition mystery polish as well. So that's something to be watching for. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more, you can also follow me on Instagram at Sloppy Swatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.